So we defined the concept of ethics, looked at critical elements in that definition. Then we moved on to our initial discussion of different levels of ethics, beginning with large social organizations like societies or states or countries, moving on to the ethics that come with being a member of a profession. And I learned that there are many different professions here at DENR, coming with their own ethical standards. Now we're going to move to even smaller organizational type agencies or units within agencies may have their own ideas about right and wrong. The ethics of an organization may be formalized and memorialized in terms of a code of ethics for that organization. I have a copy here. I didn't reproduce it for you because there was too many pages. But the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection has a code of ethics for its members. Okay? And I give you the web link there if you'd like to check it out at some point. The website that will take you to will bring up the code of ethics for the New Jersey DEP. It will also take you to other professional codes of ethics. It's a website that I consult frequently. You can get to the ABAs, AMAs, the Civil Engineers Code of Ethics, American Society for Public Administration. It has dozens and dozens of examples of professional codes at that website at the Illinois Institute of Technology. This code of ethics for members of the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection, it reads like the Ten Commandments. That's how I usually describe these types of codes of ethics. Thou shalt not. Let me just read some of the opening statements in the New Jersey DEP Code of Ethics. And just about every single sentence starts with the word no. No. I have a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old at home. No is our favorite word in my household. No state officer or employee should have any interest, financial or otherwise, direct or indirect, or engage in any business or transaction or professional activity which is in substantial conflict with the proper discharge of his duties in the public interest. No state officer or employee should use or attempt to use his official position to secure unwarranted privileges or advantages for himself or others. It goes on and on and on. I mean, literally 4 or 5 pages of these no statements. Almost all exclusively dealing with conflicts of interest and gratuities and gifts that may be out there. It's generally written in some pretty vague language. Like, there's no formal attempt to define what gift is, what would be, for example, a business transaction, what would be the proper discharge of one's duty, what's the public interest. You know, these are all pretty critical terms that need to be defined, usually through advisory opinions from your legal staff. Okay? But I just wanted to give you one example of an agency's code of ethics. It's right there for you. There are other agencies as well that have codes. I know the Deputy Secretary had mentioned before that your agency is going through a strategic planning process right now and developing probably a new mission statement, vision statement, values, goals, objectives. I looked at your one that's currently in effect, the one that was developed for 08-09, and there are certain values that are set forth for your organization. These are part of your mission, your raison d'etre, your reason to be, right? And these are the ones that actually Manley had mentioned, and they've got ethical aspects to them. Number one, there are certain duties or obligations that are listed as values. Accountability. It doesn't say accountability to whom. Okay, this is the value in your organization, accountability, but who are you accountable to? The public, right? The citizenry. The people of North Carolina, absolutely, number one. Who else are you accountable to? Employees, that's an interesting one. Very, very forward-thinking, absolutely. You know, we as leadership in the organization have some responsibility to the folks who serve us in service state. Maybe to ourselves. That's interesting. Yeah, accountable to oneself. Oftentimes, though, we talk about being accountable to political superiors, the legislature, the folks who are making policy decisions. We have some accountability there as well. I think you hit all the major ones. Okay? That's imbued in your organization's mission. These are some of the values. A duty to be accountable. Also, this is a very common duty or obligation that comes with working in the public sector. We, according to your mission statement, want to spend authorized funds wisely and well. Not only are you folks good stewards of the environment, you're good stewards of taxpayer dollars. Right there in your value statement. Okay? I think that's a good one to add in there. And then, you also deal with some character traits too. There are some virtues that are there as well. Integrity is a value. That's being consistent in one's actions. Being of incorruptible moral character. That's who we are as DENR employees. Respect. It doesn't say who to respect. I think that's very, very interesting. It just says respect. What do you respect? Each other. The citizens, right?
It goes back to accountability, the same.
Yeah, I think so. Right. Absolutely. All those other folks, respecting oneself, others, the environment, all those things. There are certain principles in there, and these are what I call professional standards. Your values list these things. We're going to emphasize efficiency, effectiveness, and quality. Those are professional standards with an ethical dynamic to it as well. Remember we said also that another way to think about moral reasoning is to consider the consequences of your actions. Your values don't have anything to that effect. Okay? What are the outcomes of our actions and how will they affect others? Okay? It's kind of rare to find a code of ethics that has a future-looking focus to it. Okay? There is one professional code of ethics that does, the American Certified Planners Association. They've got a statement in there talking about how we're going to be concerned about how our decisions impact future generations. We're going to think about the consequences of our decisions on others in the future, which is very, very unique to that organization. Okay? So, you've got some values that have been formalized in your strategic planning process. They're there, and they've got very strong ethical dimensions to them. All right, so we're still talking about organizational ethics. Why is this important? Why do we care so much about ethics within an organization? Number one, employees are more productive working within an ethical setting. There have been some very interesting studies done here that show how much time is wasted when an organization or a unit is dealing with an ethical problem. It's unbelievable. Let me get a statistic for you here. According to a recent study, 63% of people who were in a setting where there was an ethical problem spent time talking about the ethical problem with people on the job. It's going up and down the rumor mill. 2/3 of the people are just spending their time talking about, discussing the ethical issue. 50% of people said they were distracted by ethical problems within their organization. It's just taking people away from the good work of the organization. 32% of the time, 32% of individuals spend time talking with management or filed a formal complaint. And we know what happens when you file a formal complaint. All sorts of due process procedures come into effect. Putting more organizational resource there. Okay? So if you're not going to deal with the issues upstream, you're going to deal with all these downstream issues that take away from the business of the organization. So that's why we want to talk about organizational ethics. There's also some research that shows that employees are more likely to stay in an organization where their personal ethics align with the organization's ethics. So if you have any concerns about keeping the talent, growing the talent within your organization, you want to make sure that you've got good ethical practices, a good ethical climate within your